Hey everyone, Chloe here again. So for today's video, this has been requested by a few people, and it's something I've been meaning to make for a while. Not exactly sure what I want to throw into this, so it may be something that I add on to later or completely redo. But today we're going to talk about the experiences and struggles and trials and tribulations, and sometimes the occasional wonderful things about being a very tall trans woman. For cis women out there who are very tall, you might be able to relate to some of these things as well. For those of you that don't know, I believe 6'6". I'm pretty tall. I stand out. So I feel like I can speak on this subject based off of a lot of personal experience. You know, being a tall person has been a core part of who I am, and a big struggle at many points in my transition. Just to give you a look, this is how tall I am. I'm gonna go stand by the door frame and maybe give you some reference. Yeah, my outfit is not the cutest thing in the world. I just threw something on, and this is kind of what I hang out around in my house when I'm doing homework or when I feel like I should be doing homework. Yeah, anyways, there's so many problems and trials and tribulations that can come from being a tall trans woman. You know, I think a big one that's probably specific to trans women experience when it comes to being really tall is like this concern about, will I pass? Am I passable? Is it possible to pass as a trans woman who's 6 feet tall, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", or even taller? Went up to 6'6", because that's where I stopped. I wouldn't be surprised if I somehow randomly grew again, because last time I went to the doctor I was 6'6", and I thought I was 6'5". And before that I thought I was 6'4", and it's just like, what's going on? I might have downplayed it a little bit, because I can sometimes be a little self-conscious about my height. I feel like that was a lot that I just said there. You know, I think part of that, at least in my experience, comes from like, related to passing, will I stand out? Do I stand out? And the answer is probably yes. You probably will stand out simply from the fact that you'll be taller than other people in the crowd. Like, you'll literally stand out just because you're tall. Which creates some anxiety, I feel like. Because as a woman who's 6'6", I attract a lot of attention just for the fact that I am so tall. Like, I am much taller than most of the women in the places I go, and I'm taller than most, if not all, the guys in many of the places I go too. So it's just like, I'm very tall, and tallness for some reason attracts attention and is like an invitation for people to make comments. It's just like one of those things. It's just like you see a dog and it's like, oh my god, can I pet it? It's like, oh my god, you're so tall, let me ask you questions about that, because that's just what we do in our culture. It's fucking weird. I can't tell you how many times I like go into like a grocery store and somebody asks me to help them get something off of a tire shelf, and I'm like, do I look like I work here? I mean, sure, I want to be nice, so nothing would make me happier than helping you, complete stranger, get stuff off of the top shelf when I'm just trying to do my own grocery shopping in fucking peace. Yeah, as someone who's also a little bit introverted and can be a little socially awkward and anxious, the tallness and the attention tracking makes things a little more uncomfortable. I think these are realistic concerns, you know, we will stand out. But I think it's important to remember that, like, there are so many tall women out there in the world, it's just it's not something that we really see much of. You know, we're more inclined to see taller men, but there are plenty of women that are, you know, 5'10" and taller, plenty of women over 6 feet. And I think those kinds of thoughts help me kind of put things in perspective to realize that, like, there are many tall women in the world, trans and cis alike. And I like to reframe sometimes when I catch people kept looking at me, and this is something I still struggle with, and it's taken a lot of time, but kind of thinking like, they might be looking at me for a variety of reasons. They might just be staring off into space, and I happen to be in that space that they're staring off into. But they might just be looking at me because I'm tall, not necessarily because they think I'm trans, or God forbid think I'm a man because they're rude. You know, sometimes if I'm feeling extra confident, I'm like, they're looking at me because I look good. And, you know, sometimes gotta do a little bit of that bragging sometimes to help stay strong and confident in these situations that can make you uncomfortable. Just being a tall person in the world, I think, can be an uncomfortable experience because tall people, we literally stand out. I try to stand tall and proud when I walk, but sometimes I catch myself slouching because it's something I struggle with. It's possible to pass at any height. I think height is just one of those many variables, and I don't want to undermine the privilege of passing. I don't pass all the time. My voice isn't great. I'm not a huge fan of my face even after FFS, but I don't also want to downplay that you just need to do these 5 easy steps and you will be able to pass. When a lot of people do those types of little info videos or stories, they often do have a lot of privilege in terms of passing and being able to pass. That I think it's an important question to ask, because if passing is important to you, it is more or less accessible to different people, just depending on the way your body is, the way you show up in the world, and that's an unfortunate thing. And it can also be determinant on whether or not you have the ability and means to access any sorts of things like facial feminization surgery, if that is something you feel you need. I think another thing that has been a big struggle for me is finding clothes. I love clothes. That's something I've realized since coming out, that I love clothes. And it makes so much sense now why I liked going shopping with my girlfriends to help them pick out clothes, but I always hated picking out clothes for myself before I came out. And now it's just this whole new world of wonder. But being 6'6", it can be a little hard to find things that fit. And I feel like I have a long torso too, and that creates some complexities in terms of where, things kind of stretch and where, they expect my waist to be or expect my boobs to be or something like that. I usually go for maxi dresses. I love dresses, but it's just those really long flowy dresses are the dresses that kind of just fit me well. Go in the tall section for pants. Shoe shopping is probably more complicated. My feet are size 12. Usually when you're tall, you have bigger feet too. Yay. Most mainstream shoe places tend to really stop around size 10. There's not a ton of options out there beyond size 10 in many places. I mean, I end up going to websites like Torrid. They have big and tall stuff. I sometimes go there for shoes. I also have the added complexity of I love boots, but I have big feet and thin calves, which makes things extra complicated because for some reason they always expect if you wear a large size shoe, you also have large size calves. It's really hard to find, size 12 shoe with medium to narrow calf size. So it's all these fun things that we get to deal with as tall trans women, and, tall cis women out there can probably relate to these things as well. So, I think there's a lot of stuff in here that's just tall women experiences. It's a fun time being a tall woman, let me tell you. And then there's just a bunch of other things that are strange and awkward and kind of funny when you look back on it. Being a tall person, I hit my head on things. I struggle to fit in cars sometimes. Hugging people that are much shorter than me, navigating that can be interesting, especially depending on, are we aligned and how we're navigating this hug? And am I gonna hover over you? Am I gonna get down on your level? Are you gonna end up in my boobs? Who knows? Some of those things can be fun. That can also make taking pictures awkward and feeling do I want to stand tall and proud? Do I want to kind of bend to be on your level? How do you position the picture if I'm so much taller? That's why if I ever take selfies with friends. Do you still use the word selfie for that? I don't know. It's usually me who takes those pictures because it's I'm the only one who can get their arm up high enough in order to take the picture and include everyone in it. And like I said, you get all those awkward questions oh my god, do you play basketball? Oh my god, do you play volleyball? I do sometimes get, oh my god, are you a model? And I'm yes. For you, I can be a model. Because that question, I appreciate that more. But so tired of the basketball questions. Ugh, it just gets annoying. People think it's an invitation to look and or talk to you just because you're tall. You stand out, and for some reason that commands attention, and it's oh, hello, tall person, let me talk to you, because I'm sure you would love to talk to a complete stranger about your height. I'm sure you've never had these conversations before. It's just like, geez. When I tell my friends where, like, I almost literally can't go to a place without getting my height commented on. Like, it is a beautiful day if I can go the entire day without someone commenting on my height. But I think in closing, I do think there are some great things about being tall. Like, I think you do command attention. I think there is, like, a beauty to being tall. You can reach things, and there's, like, kind of an elegance to being tall, and, like, there are great clothing options for tall women that aren't necessarily as accessible to women who are much shorter. Like maxi dresses, for example. Yeah, I get people commenting all the time that I just have this confident presence when I walk into a room and when I talk to people and things like that, and it may be related to my height. I mean, that's probably one factor of it, but it's also about how you carry that as well, how I carry that. I think it takes time to get comfortable with being tall, regardless of your gender, but especially when you're coming out or in the process of coming out or not quite out, it can be a source of anxiety for sure. I can very much relate to that experience. Try to embrace it. It's part of who you are. It's part of what makes you beautiful. It's part of what makes you you. But before I ramble more, like I sometimes do, what did you think of the video? I'm just kind of saying random things about height and being tall and being a woman and being trans and all those things. Let me know what your thoughts are on all these things I threw out. Are there many other things about being tall? Probably. Let me know about your experiences. As always, thank you so much for watching. Tipsy and I love you so much. I look back to see if she's there, and she is not. Well, I'm assuming she loves you. She's just off expressing her love in different ways. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.